well, we might as well just pull up Bijan's graphic while I segue into this.
Sure.
But I think Bijan, we've seen the talent, but we saw Breece Hall pretty much be a one-man wrecking crew for his team last year in a much worse situation. Not to say the Falcons were, a good team last year, but I still think their schedule was softer, and their division was softer, and I think we saw Breece Hall do it in a bad situation. Bijan's wasn't nearly as bad, and he still wasn't as great. And for what it's worth, he actually has better competition behind him and more weapons around him on the offense, in my opinion, that could steal some touchdowns or just some total opportunity share from him.
Yeah. So Mr. Bijan Robinson is our consensus third running back. Finished 9th last year in PPR out of the Arthur Smith shackles. With the exception of Breece Hall, Robinson had the fewest red zone rushing attempts of any player that finished inside the top 12 last year. The Falcons scored in 14.38% more than the Jets. So even with the more scoring, Bijan Robinson was not involved. We've heard a lot about this offseason about Bijan being more involved. We've even heard, as flirtatious as it sounds, that he could be like a Christian McCaffrey kind of role. So, and yeah, I know ATL's asking a question. He's probably asking something stupid. Oh, okay. ATL interrupted me. Got a question for Hoff. How awful will the Mets be for the rest of the season? Probably about as awful as your mom at, do the math. So anyway, Steve, what says you on Mr. Bijan Robinson? I know you mentioned how it was tough for you to kind of make the, call between Breece or Bijan. Did you actually land on Bijan being your third running back?
Yeah, he is my third running back.
Okay.
But I had the number 2 pick in a draft the other day, and I took Bijan there. Now I'll take Breece in that spot sometimes too, so I'm kind of mixing.
But you're doing enough drafts. It's a little
exactly. Yeah. But I mean, Bijan could be the number 1 guy this year. I mean, like you mentioned, worst in red zone attempts. Everybody was beating up on Arthur Smith. They're giving Algier the ball. You also had a little bit of Cordell Patterson in the mix there. So, new regime. Zach Robinson comes over from the Rams. Obviously, we saw the usage with Kyron last year. We saw the usage with McVay in the past. He loves to kind of if he has a stud guy, we've seen it, or if he has a guy he can rely on, he's going to continue to feed him. So all expectations are it's going to be Bijan getting fed this year, especially around the goal line. Now, yeah, like Pete mentioned, you have weapons like Drake London. You have weapons like Kyle Pitts. But Kirk Cousins is going to be getting that ball in the red zone very, very nicely. You don't have to worry about Kirk Cousins running anything in either. So that only helps Bijan even more. So, yeah, I mean, top 2, top 3, wherever you want to put them, I think it makes a ton of sense. You got Bijan Robinson on your team this year. You should feel pretty damn good. And, the thing about Bijan, too, he's an absolute professional as well.
Was I the only one that ranked Bijan? And then, Anthony, this goes to you. You can answer this, but I'm just curious. Am I the only one that ranked Bijan at number 2?
I had Breece 2.
You had Breece 2.
You
Pete, did you have Breece at 2? Pete?
I had Breece at 2 as well.
Okay, so I'm a man on an island with Bijan at 2, but that's fine. I mean, again, with these 3 backs, whatever. But Anthony, you have any thoughts on Bijan?
Yeah, just piggybacking from where Steve went, we factor in this year Zach Robinson. We know the history of Zach Robinson. He was with Sean McVay since 2019. And why is that important? Well, Sean McVay, as great of a passing offense he puts out, that offense is predicated on running the football. And we've seen great running backs like Todd Gurley. We've seen guys like Darrell Henderson and Cam Akers pop in that offense. And just last year, we don't even know what Kyron Williams is, and he was a top fantasy running back. Bijan Robinson's skill set is a hell of a lot closer to Bijan Robinson than a Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson. He's a special player. And I believe that he is going to be the guy, right? This isn't the Arthur Smith show. We're not going to see Tyler Algier or Cordell Patterson in the Joker role. Bijan's going to have every
fun with that Pittsburgh
opportunity to cash in on his ADP. And even last year, he was a quote unquote disappointment. He was still the PPR RB9
Right.
and the RB17 in points per game. Efficiency wise, he's as advertised. He was 9.2 yards per catch, which was 77 percentile, 19.2% broken tackle rate, 86 percentile. 2.8 average yards after contact, 73rd percentile. And these numbers, if we assume this Falcons offense is going to be better with Kirk Cousins and the new system, then, Bijan, there is a path. And I feel this way about Breece Hall. Both of these players have a path to unseat Christian McCaffrey as a number 1 overall running back.
There's a world where that exists. Yeah. Again, these top 3 guys, moral of the story is you're not going wrong.